Hello, viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching. This is coming to you from DCTv. I have with me one of the finest Monsignors of our diocese, Monsignor Jeremiah Ofoegbu from the Catholic Diocese of Okigwe. Presently, he is the parish priest of St. Charles Umunumo Mbano. He is here today to answer a few of our questions on marriage since he's a canonist. And we have few questions for him, and we pray that you sit and enjoy our interview. Is there any progressive talk about merging the rites of traditional marriage with church wedding as one?
Thank you for the question.
All right, miss.
This has been a long-standing issue in the church, coming from the side of the African culture and tradition. There has been, but the problem is methodology and catechesis. The church thought it reasonable and also to free our members from continuing living in sin after traditional marriage. And I have discussed extensively if the couples could, from the time they agree to marry each other, start catechesis towards the celebration of the marriage, such that after the traditional marriage or on the day of traditional marriage, both celebrations will hold together so that the sacramentality of the marriage will continue and free the couples from living in sin after traditional marriage. It has been discussed, but our problem with couples is availability and ready to accept holding the two events together
At the same day.
at the same day. The church has some advantages for proposing this celebrating the marriage the same day.
Okay, that means
For
the
instance,
tradition and the
the
church.
tradition and the church, such that the traditional could hold in the morning, later the same day, the church wedding. So that the ceremony will take one, like the Igbos may say, you use one stone to kill two birds. And also, it lessens the burden of financial spending. But the problem is arriving at a compromise. That much.
So the church has given room for such.
The church
It's not
has
for the individuals to comply.
exactly.
All right, thank you. The church's position on funeral for polygamous unions.
Okay, a nice question. Though it has been a long event. I said event because polygamy is very clear. And even in Africa, is way in strength. People are recognized of being wealthy of the number of women they have. But when we separate the polygamous family now, you can think of it in two ways. The pagan polygamy and Christian polygamy. By Christian polygamy, I mean those who are baptized. If the man and the women are baptized, they are Christians. Their living is sacrament because of their baptism, but their living is sin. For the pagan, they have not much problem there. When a pagan polygamist dies, the traditionalists take the responsibility of the burial. The church has no role to play there. But the church has role to play in a Christian polygamist circle. For instance, if the man marries the first wife and wedded with her in the church,
Okay.
they will be receiving the
Sacrament.
Eucharist sacrament. And after that, the man takes more women. If the women are all baptized,
Okay.
they are Christians. But now the man has gone out of the sacramental order. He cannot be receiving Holy Communion.
Communion.
So at death, the first wife
Okay.
with which he wedded will be carried to the church.
Okay.
But the man and other women
Okay.
will not,
Okay.
because they are not practicing the sacramental aspect of the church. But the church has room for incorporating them at burials.
Okay.
And that's where we have two aspects of burial:
Okay.
funeral and burial rites.
Right.
There are two different things. Funeral has to do with the celebration of the mass,
Mass. Okay.
carrying the legible
Disease.
disease to the church.
Church. Okay.
While the baptized polygamies
Okay.
can be given if they are functioning actively in the
Active.
church.
Okay.
By that, respecting the sacred things, paying their dues, cooperating with the teachings of the church, only that they have impediment of continuing the sacrament.
Sacrament. Okay.
And eventually, if they die, the priest or any member of the church catechist also can be delegated to go to the compound and do the burial rites,
Okay.
which includes praying, readings, homily, blessing of the grave. The only thing they could not receive is mass celebration before the burial. Again, I think Canon 1148 specified on that what I have just said: the privileges and the rights between the full-fledged what we call monogamous marriage and polygamous marriage.
All right. Thank you, Mus. What is the striking difference between annulment and divorce?
Okay. These are two technical words.
Okay.
The first, divorce, has to do with legalism.
Okay.
By that I mean where a man and the wife goes to the court or to the local government, registers the marriage. We call it court marriage. Then the other one, annulment, has to do with church's law.
Okay.
The divorce in court has its own consequences. The assets and liabilities in that marriage goes to one person. If it's the woman that dies, all that the woman has goes to the man. And nobody from the side of the woman will intervene to struggle over the state of the disease. But in the church, the annulment has a canonical significance.
Okay.
It traces right from, or rather ab initio, whether the marriage has any impediment.
Okay.
If the church discovers that there is an impediment or that the marriage does not exist ab initio from onstart, that means that the church annuls it. Annulment is quite different from divorce. Once marriage is annulled, the man is free to remarry and wed. The same with the woman. That's the difference.
All right, thank you, Mus. At what point is matrimonial separation encouraged? At what point?
Okay. You know, when you talk of separation, does not mean total annulment or divorce.
Mhm.
Separation is a time given to couple who have problem with their marriage that seem incompatible.
Okay.
They give them chance to go and think, find out their fault, and
Mhm.
see whether they can
Move
come
ahead.
back to or move ahead with the marriage. But at the point where it causes serious problem,
Mhm.
incompatible situation that the marriage is as no more go ahead. That means if the marriage creates bodily, spiritual problem to each other, it has to be, they have to be separated. Even to the children.
It affects them
If
psychologically.
it affects both the children, the man, the woman, bodily, physical, that may even cause unexpected death.
Death. Okay. As
And
domestic violence.
yes, and the solution is to separate them, to give them chance and think about themselves. If eventually by preaching advice they have a remorse conscience
Okay.
and agrees to come
Come
back,
back.
they can renew their promises.
So you are
Now,
saying at the point of
a no-go area.
no-go area, so the church grants separation.
Yes.
And it's different from divorce. That can
It's quite
prevent
different
a
from divorce
couple
or
from wedding in the Catholic Church.
well, there are so many of them according to canon law. If a couple are found that there is force
Okay.
in the marriage
Okay.
or there is deceit in the marriage or that the married in a state of minor, they are not of canonical age,
Okay.
which canonically states that the man must be above 16
Okay.
and the lady must be above 14.
Okay.
If they are below this age, they cannot marry in the church.
Yeah.
Then generally, if somebody in a state of order,
Okay.
religious now,
Okay.
say from the stages of diaconate and
Full
priesthood,
ordination.
yeah, they cannot get married and wed in the Catholic Church. Maturity is also required from couples because it is maturity that will lead them to the sense of taking responsibility of marriage. Yeah. They will understand what marriage is all about before they get into it. And when they are blessed with children, their responsibility over the children.
All right. Thank you, Ms.
Their consanguinity prevents people to marry in the church. When I talk of consanguinity, I mean blood relationships.
Relations.
The Igbo talk of to the fourth
Fourth
generation,
generation.
but I don't know where it has been existing to the fourth generation,
Yeah.
except the new influx
Okay.
from America, Japan, China, all these people trying to invade Nigeria or Africa with their culture. People marrying even their sister, but that has not come over to us.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. How does the church relate to children born out of wedlock?
Yeah, you know, the church, as we understand it, is a family of gospel,
Yes.
according to Octa Tamtus,
This is
number 8. So the church accommodates, does not discriminate. So children of such are also children of God, created by God. The duty of the church is to baptize them. And once they are baptized, they become members of the church. And the church can't discriminate. So they don't have problem.
Okay. Thank you most.
And if there is problem, it's on the parents.
Okay.
So the sin of the parents cannot be judged on their children.
Children.
Because these children, once they are baptized, they are to find their own salvation. While their parents also find their way to be saved.
What is the church's position on contraceptives? Are there situations that may allow such?
Good question. Because this question is both moral, medical, and financial. I will start by saying that contraceptive is taken from two words, contra and septive. Contra deals with against
Okay.
or unaccepted,
Against something.
unaccepted. Whereas sept means accepted. So contra acceptive means unaccepted,
Okay.
unaccepted issue or thing. So in the church, contraceptive is always seen as a hindrance. It prevents true flow of sexual conjugal relationship and also goes contrary to the mind of the Creator. Think Genesis 1:27 following gives the mandate of increase and multiply. And any means to stop this injunction by God is contrary. It's against. And any person practicing it is going contrary to the mind of the Creator. Because the usefulness of sex is for procreation. Even in marriage, once it lacks there, the marriage has impediment.
Okay.
It's not complete. And if a man and a woman or couples accept they will marry but no children, it's not accepted.
Okay, because it's part of the.
Yes. So contraceptives it has advantage and disadvantage. Under advantage, it benefits those who produce it financially. It is for money. They gain a lot from selling it to live their life. But the purpose of the contraceptive is where the disadvantage comes forth. For instance, the people of China, America, Germany, India, call them. They produce this, and their focus is money.
Money, okay.
They push it, get their money. What it is not used for, it's not their business. So for them, it's of advantage. Okay. The disadvantage is on the part of the youth, which are earlier said, the disruption of flow of sexual relationship that produces human beings. Then contraceptives is morally bad. It increases prostitution.
Okay.
Because the use of it is to prevent pregnancy, conception. So the church sees it as evil. But then the church considers medically, like people or a carrier of HIV. If couples, one has the HIV, and lost the wife so much that he cannot afford going in with her. If the church may permit
Okay.
the uncarrier the use of contraceptive
Okay.
in order not to be infected.
Okay.
But this has not become publicly made as a rule.
Okay.
But the church considers that
At that point.
at that point. And those in the clinical center, the hospitals, can. If the man cannot hold himself, or instead of going out committing adultery, which is against one's spiritual life, is a deadly sin, and wants to remain with this wife till death, chooses to use contraceptive, I think they can be permitted for sake of life.
All right, thank you, Mos. We're gradually coming to the last. What is the recent views about blessing of homosexual unions by the church?
The church is always at its work. What I mean by that, homosexual, scripturally, morally, is abomination. Citing the book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and 19, it's abomination. It's not part of the order
of God's creation.
So, a man, because it is a sin of the man.
Yes.
So, if a man is a homo, and at a point takes to a wife, and if God blesses their marriage with children, you see that the homo life of the man could be interpreted as the fault of the man, because God imbues in him that power of procreation. And if the church sees that the homo who marries a woman, which is proper, a man and a woman, that's what makes marriage, and they produce, the church has for me, right to bless them so that they live as couples, holy couples. If in the process the earlier life of the homo ceases, you see that the church has said. But if the man, I begin to ask myself, is it possible that a man and a man can produce children? That's where anybody who may be criticizing the church could think about. Is this marriage or blessing marriage of the homos, is it between man and man? If it is between man and man, church can never bless it. But if a homo man marries a woman, the marriage can be blessed because they are living the natural order of marriage.
So the homo now remains with the man in his life.
And within the process, he can stop at a point in time. He can stop since he has married. The satisfaction derived from sex, he has it. And if they have it and it produces effect, which is children. So, because we may make a mistake of having such people, if you don't bless their marriage, you render their children illegitimate children.
Okay.
But if you bless their marriage, they become legally, sacramentally sound family. Their children flows through the sacramental status of their parents.
All right, viewers, we have come to the end of our section with Monsignor Jeremiah Ofoegbu explaining some terms concerning marriage. So, viewers, you have your comments, send us your comments, and we shall come back again for some reply. Most, thank you for coming.
God bless
What do you have
you.
to tell us as DCTv crew members?
It is very encouraging. When most of us see you function in this directive, we begin to ask, from where did you deduct this excellence of profession? Did you study it in the bigger seminary, or is it a wisdom, or is it an innate knowledge, wisdom, or are you a professional in this? That's the questions we ask. But whatever like you are doing now, this is a means of spreading the good
Good
news,
news.
which is very encouraging. We have seen you in various sectors, getting information, disseminating the information. And personally, that's why one day I asked you, why can't you invite me? And today you have
Yeah,
invited
yeah.
me, even though so many disappointments, but you still had patience with me. Keep it
All
up.
right. Thank
It's
you,
all
Most.
encouraging.
All right. Viewers, keep watching DCTv.